Hey, hey, hey. It's Filter Free Friday, y'all. Listen, I am so glad you're here. Guess who's going to be 50 on Sunday? I swear for God, I feel 20 years old until I'm hanging out with 20 year olds. I've come to learn though that there's this pact I made with myself when I was a young person, and it was that I was going to remember what it was like to be young, that I wasn't going to use my privilege as an adult to um, oppress young people like ever. In fact, there are a couple interns who are coming to the KC360 meetings every week, and I had an opportunity to talk to them before they went back to college. And yesterday, I just held on to them so tight because I'm not going to see them again. Gave them a copy of Spark the Heart, and I know they felt everything that my words couldn't say in that hug. And it is that the young people are always the ones who save us. They are the ones who have the moral courage. They have the ones who have the emotional courage. You actually don't have to teach a young person about something that doesn't make sense. They know. They pick it up and they run with it. If you're not here in Kansas City, you might not realize that we have not had a homicide in 21 days in our city. And because of the World Cup, the leadership and the media had started to talk about homicides in ways that I thought were helpful to talk about trends. We are down 22% over the last 5 years. We are down 25% over this time last year. And I bring up homicides when I'm talking about young people, not because young people are the ones who are advancing homicides, but because young people are the ones that people say are responsible for homicides, and they're not. There was an unfortunate event that happened last Saturday at the Dr. Martin Luther King Park, and I don't even really know all the details. I do know that no one was killed. And I also know that as a young person, I did things that weren't so wise. In fact, as a 49-year-old, I do things that are not so wise. But we have to remember that until you're like 26 or so, the brain isn't even fully developed. That people are operating when they're young without the full capacity of their brain. And those of us who have made it past 26, we do have the full capacity of our brains. But if we have adverse childhood experiences or traumas, this part back here, the part that tells us to fight or to run or to freeze or to try to please other people, that part is the part that gets activated, not this thinking part. And that is with fully grown adults. I'm tired. I'm about to. In fact, I think I'm going back to bed, get me a nap in. Um, but I think empathy at its core is us remembering who we were when we were in certain situations. Remember how you acted when you were young. Remember what you wanted to wear. Remember that you were listening to NWA. We have to remember because as the bones start to ache a bit, and as the speed starts to slow and the flexibility goes, it's easy to go back in history and rewrite it in your favor and say, these young people today. Um, but empathy can't sit on a bed of hypocrisy. And if you are leading people, not young people, if you are leading people, I need you to remember that because some of the ways in which we show up, we model for young people how to be. And unfortunately, that modeling is full of judgment instead of being full of empathy and compassion and grace and mercy and love, those things that we say we care about. And I believe that that's harder to do in an environment where one of the most famous leaders on the globe lacks those skills. But you know what? How they behave is like the weather outside. You can't control it. But how each of us behaves with the 10 to 12 people we see every day, that's like controlling the temperature in this room. And we got to be better about it. We got to be better about it. If you are in Kansas City and are a church going person and don't have your own church home, I invite you to the Mount at 10:30 on Sunday. I am preaching. from the book of Judges. I'm going to tell the story of Gideon. My best friend called and she was giving me some feedback on some of my sermons she watched, and she said that I take too long with my stories. I'm going to tell a whole joke about that because that's what I do, tell jokes. And listen, y'all know I ain't no deep theologian. I'm a storyteller. That's how God made me. So I don't know if I'm gonna implement her feedback, but I'm sure make her feel bad and laugh and giggle for calling me and tell me that I talk too long on my stories. I'm good for telling a 10-minute long story and then making my point in like 5 minutes. But if y'all can make it, the Mount is 79th and Pastel, 10:30. We ain't gonna be there long. The title of the sermon is "It's Giving Gideon," and I'm coming out of Judges chapter 6 and 7. If you want to read both of them. The other thing I want to tell you is if you were interested in my little bucket list and you want to come to my comedy show, we are at capacity. At one point, I was thinking about having this comedy show at the Improv. It's my birthday party / comedy show. And the Improv only seats 300 people. And I got 500 people coming to see me tell jokes next Friday. If I didn't send you the invitation, you know how my friends are. People will start calling me an hour before the show as if I ain't getting my makeup done, expressing their regrets. So if you think you want to come, send me a text message or a DM or something, and I'll put you on the wait list for those 50 or so people who are going to call me on the day of and say they can't come instead of telling me right now. And y'all don't know my childhood friend Marvin, who I beat up when we were in the 3rd grade. But he thinks he's going to get on stage. And if you know Marvin, please tell him that he is not getting on stage because it's just not going to happen. But the one thing I want to leave with you before I go, because God, I'm tired, is that, you know, we keep trying to say empathy is walking in somebody else's shoes. It's too hard to do that, I think. Those ain't your shoes. They don't fit. They ain't gonna mold to your feet. I think it's too hard. But I want you to maybe try this on for size. Try walking alongside somebody. Try seeing the world as they see it. Feeling the air as they feel it. Experiencing the things that they experience. And see if it doesn't open your heart right up. And those of us who have been children, if you can imagine what your childhood was like and then put a microscope on it in the terms of social media, constant access, people can know where you are all the time. Stress and pressure of a world where the things that your parents could afford don't seem like they're going to be available to you. And then open your heart up, right? Because those who are the most disruptive have often been the most disrupted. It's Filter Free Friday, y'all. We got work to do.